I'd just like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Turrbal and Yagara people. I pay my respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who might be with us today. Firstly, thanks everyone for having me. My name's Pawan. I'm Endeavour Foundation's National Resource Recovery Manager. For anyone who hasn't heard of Endeavour Foundation before, we're one of Australia's largest disability service providers, and essentially we support people with a disability to live their best lives, whether that's through living independently, getting a job they love, or engaging with the community. Endeavour Foundation as a whole, we're comprised of Endeavour Foundation and the Community Solutions Group. Our disability services spread across 3 core portfolios: work, community and home. Home is exactly how it sounds. We own houses all over Queensland. We provide supported independent living, drop-in support and 24/7 home support to people. Through our community services, we are able to support people with a disability to learn new skills and to access the community. In our learning and lifestyle hubs, we teach people how to cook. We do a lot of VR work, so we teach people how to drive, how to catch a bus, how to use a credit card. And the work portfolio is where I predominantly operate. It's where we provide employment opportunities to people with a disability. We've got 28 social enterprise sites across the eastern seaboard, we like to say from Mareeba to Melbourne. And we've got a national contract with Defence called the Defence Assistance Program. We offer a wide variety of work from general packaging to specialised packaging. So we've actually got a TGA approved pharmaceutical packaging site in Sydney. We've got an art gallery and an art studio in Melbourne. We've got a cross-arm timber mill in Maryborough. And we do resource recovery work. So we do resource recovery work across our social enterprise sites and externally as well. Within our social enterprise sites, we do business activities like document destruction and paper shredding, which is probably our largest, cardboard and plastic collection and baling in different areas. Out in Warwick, we're actually a drum muster processor. We do some repurposing of textiles as well, working with Blocktex and then also producing industrial cleaning cloth. E-waste recycling, which is predominantly what we'll touch on today. And basically anything that we're able to do. So to give you an example of that, we do some work with Komatsu. Komatsu are one of our very strong valued partners. They came to us a few years ago. They had tens of thousands of these oil testing kits that were essentially single use. They're a container with 2 canisters, an inner and outer canister that were both plastic. We had a look, we worked with them, we developed a way to clean and sanitise the outer canister and to reduce that from landfill, so they're now reusing those. In addition to that sort of work, we also contract to councils and industry to operate local government waste facilities and recycle markets in Queensland. Through that work, we're providing around 200 mainstream employment opportunities at the moment. Our current footprint includes Gympie region, Sunshine Coast, the Southern Downs, and we work with Cleanaway in Brisbane and Veolia on the Gold Coast. Specifically on e-waste, we process material through the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme, or the NTCRS, and we work with co-regulators to recover their e-waste and source our own volumes for recovery. We dismantle e-waste into its individual componentry, and we send that material to downstream partners for further recovery or processing. Sorry. Definitely. Through that work, we provide the employment opportunities to 124 people with disability across our sites in Townsville, Kippering and Southport. And in addition to providing those employment opportunities, it's also really crucial skills building. So, you're learning operation of tools, equipment, line assistance skills, but in addition to that, we've had some really great success in people obtaining forklift licences, obtaining truck driving licences, and then moving on into the workforce in truck driving roles. Not just the physical skills though, we also foster personal and professional development, and we found that e-waste work is really good for that. It's really developed and built confidence in our employees to the extent that we now have employees who will lead external site visits and audits, and we'll talk people through exactly what they do at the site. And I've just got some stats on the screen. So across in the network of our sites in FY23, we received 1,210 tonnes of material across those sites. Right through our process, so from us right through to our downstream vendors, we were able to recover 1,130 tonnes of that material for a 93% material recovery rate. Unfortunately, the majority of material not able to be recovered has been plastic, particularly acrylic plastics from TV screens. Speaking of plastic, it is one of our greatest challenges. Not just that, but having the accessible and downstream markets to process that material. So unfortunately in Queensland, and considering that we operate in far north Queensland, we are faced with the tyranny of distance, and it can significantly impact the viability of the services we provide. We're really fortunate that we've got partners and we've been able to access markets, but we're finding that markets for the more challenging material, particularly plastic, are really being developed in the southern states, and we're really struggling to actually access them. Batteries as well, particularly embedded lithium-ion batteries, but also loose batteries. Being in the resource recovery industry, this is a challenge across the board. I used to work in local government waste, and I still remember the days where if we had a truck fire or a landfill fire, the fireys would immediately say it must have been green waste in a garbage bag. Now, straight away, it must have been a lithium-ion battery. We're really fortunate to have access to downstream partners to recover the material, but again, they're in the southern states, so we're then needing to aggregate material to make it viable and then have the challenges of having to transport and store that material. So I've just got some photos on the screen. In the middle, you can see that was a result of an embedded lithium-ion battery igniting at one of our sites. I've put vapes in capital letters because it is one of our greatest challenges. I actually can't remember how and when vapes actually became a thing, but they are, and they're so abundant now that we're constantly receiving them and being challenged by them. What we found as well is that there's no real public understanding on if or how they can be recycled or how to dispose of them, so we regularly receive them in our e-waste deliveries. This lends itself to the need for increased public awareness and education, what can be recycled, where, how. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, not just from members of the public, but people in the industry, that vapes are just a really big battery, can't you recycle them? Unfortunately, not the case. In addition to that, you can see the photo with the Ziploc bag, or the sandwich bag, is something that came into one of our sites from an e-waste cage provided by a co-regulator. And you'll see that that's a lighter, some AAA batteries, and an ink cartridge. I really don't know why they were mixed together, but they were. Product design is also an issue for us, so we're increasingly designing and producing items that are difficult to recycle, not the other way around. We don't just see this in e-waste, we also process and strip mattresses, seeing a lot more memory foam, which is great because memory foam's comfortable, but it can't be recycled in the same way that foam was traditionally recycled. So before I finish, I'd just like to say that we're evolving how we support people with disability to live fulfilling lives. In addition to our disability social enterprises, we're partnering with organisations to build pathways to employment, to provide opportunities for positive change. And there are many pathways to mainstream employment. Supported hosted employment, or SHE, is one of these pathways that we offer, and it's an opportunity for people living with disability to be employed in a mainstream workplace with support. Employees are supported by Endeavour Foundation, but work for you. The ultimate goal is then for these employees to eventually be employed by you directly without additional support. We've had some really great success in providing these opportunities already. So we've got a team who go out to the Coles distribution centre, out in Wacol. And we've got another team who go out to Phoenix Power Recyclers out in Yatala, who are a large organics recycler. So if anyone is interested, please feel free to reach out to me.